Spider-Man is just the perfect character for stealth. I mean, if we talk about his powers, he can pretty much climb and crawl to any surface. He can pull people towards him using his webs and stick people to walls or ceiling to hide the bodies. So Spidey is a very stealthy character. I mean, his powers help him for that, and Marvel Spider-Man game franchise recognized that and implemented stealth gameplay. I really enjoy it. It's very fun. It's a big part of the game. And today I want to talk about how they can improve that for Marvel Spider-Man 2. What are not only the improvements, but the problems that they should fix with stealth gameplay. I'm going to be talking about both Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, which already improved a little bit upon the first game, but I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 needs to improve even more. Before we start, I just want to remind you to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind of content. I've already talked about the improvements that I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 should do for the combat, okay? I'm going to leave a card up here for you to watch. Make sure to check it out as well. But again, subscribe to the channel to see more discussions like that. If you enjoy Marvel Spider-Man, if you enjoy superhero games in general, make sure to subscribe to receive more content like this. There are 6 topics I want to talk about today, and the first one is the lack of ways to take down people. There are a few ways you can do it in stealth, which are when you go directly behind the opponent, when you are on an advantage point, which is called the perch takedown, when you are underneath an opponent, you're crawling on a surface and he's like on the edge of a second floor or something like that, you can take them out there, or when you are in an air vent, and that one is really cool. Other than that, you can take people out by using the web strike takedown, which is basically a way to take people out at anywhere. I mean, if the opponent is on a web strike distance away from you, you can take them out if you're on the ground, if you're in the air. Basically, even if the enemy is in the air and he doesn't know you're there, you can take him out. So it's an easy way to take people out without being the same button that you use for stealth, right? So you have this 5 ways to take people, 4 as a stealth takedown, and 1 is the web strike takedown. And the problem I see with this is that Marvel Spider-Man came out in 2018, and we have this 5 ways to take people out. But we've been having stealth in Spider-Man games since Shattered Dimensions, and it came out in 2010. And the game already offered us 6 different ways to take people out. You could take them out by going directly behind, by being behind the opponent but on like a web strike distance away. You could take people out if you were close to a wall, you would interact with the wall, which was really cool. You could take people out if you were on the wall, you would pull them to the wall and leave them there. You could take them out if you were on a perch point, just like in Marvel Spider-Man, or you could also do when you're on the second floor and the opponent is on the first floor. You would have a different animation if you were on the second floor, but not necessarily on a perch position. So we already had 6 ways there. And in 2018, we get Marvel Spider-Man and we only have 5. It feels to me like a downgrade, you know? Because the least you expect is that you're going to have the same amount of resources that you had in the past games. You expect to have even more, but at least you want to have the same that you had in the past. But Marvel Spider-Man doesn't deliver that. For example, I got very sad when I saw that I could not take people out in stealth when I was on the wall. Why can't I pull people to the wall? I mean, that is one of the most classic ways to take people out in stealth as Spider-Man. It's safe. You take out their bodies, you hide them on a wall, nobody sees it. I mean, why can't you do that? That just feels off to me. Fortunately, in Miles Morales, they added this possibility, and they also added the possibility of you taking people out from the ceiling, which is different than the wall as well. So I already saw some improvements in Miles, and I hope that in Marvel Spider-Man 2 we get to keep these improvements that Miles has, and also give us more possibilities. I like the addition of the air vents takedown. It was awesome. It was a creation for Marvel Spider-Man. However, if you stop to think about it, you get to another problem, which I'm going to be talking about now, which is scenarios that explore the different ways you can take people down. Because, again, as I talked about here, in Marvel Spider-Man, you have 5 ways to take people out. And when you get to the scenarios, you'll see that you don't have air vents to take people down from. It's ridiculous. I mean, the only situations you can use the air takedowns is basically on the first mission when you're fighting Fisk. You invade the Fisk Tower. There you have a situation where you can use the air takedown. You can use that once, if I'm not mistaken, when you're trying to go after Martin Lee and you're in a specific room, and in the DLC from Black Cat when you're in the bank. These are the only 3 situations you can use the air vents takedown. And I mean, they created that animation for you to use, but they don't give you the scenario, the proper scenario for you to use that. It's kind of a waste, you know. And the same thing goes for the other takedown that I was talking about, where you come from underneath and you take somebody that is on an edge. You don't really have many situations where that is viable for you to do. Most of the time, the stealth takedowns are going to be from perch positions because you have plenty of those in Marvel Spider-Man. And maybe if you want to go directly behind somebody to take them out, but honestly, most of the time that is not even worth doing because you could just use the perch takedowns or even the web strike takedowns. So the scenarios, they don't really force you to explore the different ways you can take people down. They give you the tools to do it on a very simple and easy way, which is to use the perch takedown. I mean, there's no downside in doing that. You don't have to expose yourself in the ground. You can take people out and leave their bodies tied up in the perch position. You really have nothing to worry about. Why would you explore the different ways if the scenario doesn't really force you to do that? Or even worse, it doesn't even give you the opportunity to do that because you don't have the vents, or there is no surface for you to crawl underneath the opponent to do the other kind of stealth takedown. So the scenarios, they play a big part here too. And in Marvel Spider-Man, I feel that they are a little bit off in this scenario. For Miles, I already feel some improvement, again, because we also have the ceiling and the wall, and the scenarios feel a little more proper for the different ways you can take people out, and especially when it comes to the bases, I think in the Miles they improved a lot for stealth as well. But Marvel Spider-Man 2 should focus a lot on the scenarios too, so that we can explore the many different ways you can take people out. The third problem I see, and that really pisses me off, is that you don't have a way to go back into stealth once you're spotted, right? In the first game, whenever somebody sees you, you're gonna enter combat mode and you cannot go back into stealth mode. You're gonna have to do everything in combat from that point on, and there is no turning back. In Miles Morales, they fixed that problem because Miles has camouflage, right? So if somebody sees you, you go into camouflage, you hide, you keep moving from point A to point B, and they will not see you anymore. You'll go back into stealth mode and you can keep doing stealth. However, in the first game, you don't have that option. If somebody sees you, it's over. And for Marvel Spider-Man 2, I really hope they find a way for Peter to be able to go back into stealth as well, because it was really cool to have that in Miles. And obviously he's going to be able to do that since he's got the camouflage, but they have to find something for Peter as well, because going back into stealth is one thing that we must have. The next one might be a little controversial, and I think some people will not agree with me on this one, but I see this as a problem. Tell me in the comments if you agree with me or not. But in my opinion, the web strike takedown, it should alert enemies when you use it, because in the way that it is right now, it's basically a way for you to take people down from anywhere without having to worry about nothing. Because when you do a stealth takedown, even the perch takedowns that I said was easy, you at least have to worry about getting to the perch point, you know, so that you can do the stealth takedown. But with web strike takedown, you have to worry about nothing. You just have to worry about getting to a distance where you can do the web strike takedown. Because honestly, it works when you're on the ground, when you're in the air, if you're on a wall, even if you're on the perch position, anywhere you are. If you are able to be on the right distance, which is very far because the web strike takedown works from a big distance, if you are on the right distance, you can take them out. And you don't have to worry about nothing because it's just like a stealth takedown. You're gonna take the person out and there is no consequences. There is no penalties for using that. It just gives you a ton of advantage and nothing to worry about. The only thing you could say is a downside is that you leave the bodies on the ground. But honestly, the stealth takedown, when you go directly behind, also leaves the bodies on the ground. So basically, there is no advantage for you to go and choose that stealth takedown instead of using the web strike takedown. So I think you should have a penalty for using that, because in terms of how you have to position yourself in the scenario to take people out, it's much easier than all the other ways because you don't have to worry about that. And also, if you stop to see it, it's a lot more violent than the other takedowns. Spidey goes towards the opponent and he strikes them with speed. That should make a lot of noise and people should hear that. They should be alerted by that. It's not stealthy. That doesn't look stealthy at all. And it could work just like in, again, I'm gonna mention here the Batman Arkham series. When you are in Batman Arkham series, there are some takedowns that you do that they make a lot of noise. You break glass to take people out, or if you want to knock them out faster because you don't want to stay there, holding that position for too long, you take them out fast, but you make a lot of noise and people hear that, and then they go check out the body. For Marvel Spider-Man, it could work just the same because honestly, if they don't do that, if they just leave Web Strike Takedown the way it is right now, there is really not many reasons for you to try and do stealth takedowns instead. It's just much easier to go for Web Strike Takedown. So I think you needed to have some kind of penalty for using that, so that you wouldn't just use that all the time. You'd go for the stealth takedowns once in a while as well. The next one is really annoying, and I really don't understand why they did that for the first game, but it is not allowing you to complete all rounds of a challenge in stealth, right? When you go to the bases and you have the different rounds, you have from round 1 to round 6, if I'm not mistaken, you can't do them all in stealth. Even if you don't get caught by anybody, when you go from round 1 to round 2, it will automatically switch to combat. You cannot remain in stealth, even if nobody sees you. And that is something they did, and I can't really see the reason why. I mean, if you haven't been seen yet, why can't you stay in stealth? And I'm talking more for the challenges again, because if you're playing the story, you can continue the whole sequence in stealth and take everybody out in stealth, but not in the challenges, not in the bases, right? I really wish you could go all rounds in stealth if you were able to keep from being seen. That was fixed in Miles. Again, Miles Morales fixed that. You can take everybody out in stealth if you want, all the rounds, all the way through. Not only because you have the camouflage, which allows you to go back into stealth if you get caught, but also because if you never get caught, stealth will continue. They didn't make a system where combat starts at some random point. They just did in a way where if you are in stealth and nobody sees you, you continue on stealth. This also adds up a little to a way to go back into stealth. I want to be able to choose if I want to be in stealth or not, and have a way that I can go back to it if I want to. And I think it was very unnecessary that you cannot complete all challenges in stealth. I really don't know why they did that, and I think it should change for Marvel Spider-Man 2. And last but not least, I want to see more animations, especially for the takedowns that Miles brought us and for the ones that Marvel Spider-Man 2 might give us. And what I'm talking about here is, for example, in Miles Morales we got the wall takedown and the ceiling takedown. I'm really glad those are there. However, whenever you use them, it's always going to be the same animation. For when you go directly behind the opponent and for the perch takedowns, you have like 3 or 4 different animations, and that is awesome. I really like to see the variety, And I really think that the new ways we take people down should also come with different animations for us to have that variety, That really helps a lot when it comes to replayability factor, because some people, I don't know about you guys, but me, when I play the game, I really play it like 2, 3, 4 times. I beat the game multiple times. The more animations that I have, the better it is for me to not get bored or not feel like the combat or stealth is getting old, So that helps a lot, and sometimes adding just 2 or 3 more animations is already enough to make you want to keep playing and enjoying the gameplay for much longer. So I'd really focus on putting more animations out there too. So these are the stealth improvements that I wish Marvel Spider-Man 2 gave us. Do you agree with me? Tell me in the comments if there's any other improvements you'd like to see that I haven't mentioned here, so that we can create these awesome discussions together. Please also be sure to check out the improvements that I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 should do for combat. The link is on the description. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and also subscribe to the channel to receive more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later!